we're at this crossroads once again where the entire conversation about the sport is how much it sucks, how much the product sucks. And like, don't get me wrong, like it's tough to fight those arguments anymore. I mean, hell, we had our NBA insider Nick Friedel, who basically said himself, he goes, "I love the game, but he goes, the product is it's probably one of the worst it's been." You know, the whole conversation around tanking this week. It's warranted. It's a disgrace what some of these teams are doing. I don't care how loaded this draft class is going to be, how historic this draft class is going to be. What the Utah Jazz did last weekend, sitting Lauri Markkanen and Jaren Jackson Jr., who, by the way, they now conveniently have, he needs a growth removed in his knee. He's going to be out for the year. Okay, and what about Lauri Markkanen, huh? They've basically done the most egregious load management with him all season long, who is a great player that'll never get the shine that he deserves. They sat both those guys for the fourth quarter of the entire game, basically back-to-back games, so they could lose, so they could blatantly lose. What they did is egregious, and they're not the only ones. The Pacers are another one. They're a disgrace, the Indiana Pacers. A disgrace what they've done this year. Oh, we don't have Tyrese Halliburton. Well, I guess we should try to lose 60 games. Bunch of losers. And they're allowed to get away with it because Adam Silver, for the most part, is spineless and has not brought in proper measures to try to really stop tanking. And it's one thing when it's a bunch of people, older generation or people that already don't like the NBA. They get a reason to try to pound on it and, jump on top and kick the NBA when it's down. Even though, again, they're multi-million dollar, $100 million broadcast deals with Amazon and bringing back to NBC and all the money they're making from the rights, the media rights deal. Like you'd think the NBA is doing great. It does in the playoffs every single year. But like I said, every year we get to the All-Star game and it's, teams tank and it's terrible. Load management. These guys can't even play the games and they're getting paid $50-60 million a year. And the All-Star game sucks, and the slam dunk contest sucks, and nobody watches until we get to the playoffs. And even then, so many years, it's a one-way show. We know who's getting there, even though that was the furthest thing from the truth in the Eastern Conference last year. And even the Thunder got pushed by the injury-riddled Nuggets last year to a Game 7. And so here we are at a crossroads once again. And I think that the NBA All-Star game this weekend has a chance to save itself. The NBA All-Star Game has a chance to save itself, and it's got a chance to get folks reinvigorated about the NBA, to get people watching, and not just in April, not just at the end of March, when all of a sudden it's down to, the playoff race, even though that's kind of not that exciting anymore because you get the play-in tournament. And so even if, you got teams battling for the 7 and 8 seeds, well, whoever doesn't, the 6 and the 7 seeds, whoever doesn't make it, well, at least they're in the play-in tournament. They've got a shot. But I think if we get a great All-Star game this weekend, it can really start to turn the tide, the conversation about the NBA. And I remember it was kind of maybe a small scale 2 years ago. But there was a lot of people complaining about the pace of the game and how it's all offense and no defense. And the NBA kind of literally said, Adam Silver and statements they put out there, they literally said, look, we're reffing games as if it's the playoffs in February. And all of a sudden, you got some physical games, you got some lower scoring games, and it kind of got interest back in right around the All-Star game, right around All-Star weekend, because there was a lot of negative talk about the league then. And maybe I don't know, maybe I'm not prisoner of the moment because I remember it 2 years ago. I thought that was a nice boost. That was a nice shot in the arm for the NBA. To have that, to basically have the commissioner say, hey, we want these guys to be able to play some more physical defense. We're going to start reffing the games right now as if it's the playoffs when we're 2 months out. And specifically as it pertains to just the All-Star game, forget about the state of the league, forget about tanking, forget about load management. Like, if nothing else, even if you were not a big fan of the NBA and maybe the All-Star weekend was when you really started to tune in because there's only a month and a half, 2 months to go after that. And it's like, okay, the NFL football is done. I don't start watching the NBA at Christmas. I'm going to get in at the All-Star game because I get to at least see the best players play. Well, even that has become a constant topic of negative attention here over the last several years, to the point where even when it was still East versus West, it was all right, who's going to score 180 points? Who's going to score 190 points? Because the players stopped caring. And I think there was maybe a bit of glorification of what the All-Star game looked like in the 90s or the early 2000s. My earliest memories of watching it, it wasn't like these guys were playing like it was game 7. Let's not, get it twisted and blow it out of proportion, but there was way more effort. There was way more effort, especially in like the fourth quarter. But there was way more effort throughout the game in the All-Star game than there has been now, and it's gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And so the NBA has tried to change it, right? Team Giannis versus Team LeBron, drafting these teams so that it's not East versus West, because apparently that became boring. You know, a lot of players like Kevin Durant wanted it to stay East versus West. Then we started to do, let's do, 3 different teams, or let's do these teams, like play it quarter by quarter, and all of a sudden the fourth quarter is just the first to 30 or whatever the hell it would be. And that was okay for a little bit. But even then, last year, a lot of people said this is the worst it's ever been. And so now we get this format. 3 teams, 2 teams from the USA, and 1 team world. And they're split up into 3 teams, and you're going to get Team USA versus Team World in the one quarter. Then you'll get the second Team USA versus the other Team USA in the second quarter. Then you'll get the 2 teams that haven't played each other, Team World versus the other Team USA in the third quarter. And each quarter is basically a game. And the top 2 teams then play each other in the fourth quarter for the championship. To be honest, I think we overthought it. I think it should have just been a full game, Team USA versus Team World. You got enough international players that are making a massive difference in this game. And hell, I mean, honestly, I can make an argument the 5 best players in the world are all non-American players. And some of these guys won't be playing, but like if they were all healthy, you could have a starting 5 of Giannis, Luka Doncic, Nikola Jokic, SGA, and Victor Wembanyama. And I don't that's a dream team. We did the list earlier in this show, the 1992, that's a dream team. That is a freaking unbeatable squad. It really is. But Giannis isn't going to play because of the calf strain. SGA's not playing because of the ab injury. Luka may or may not play. I still don't think we've gotten official status on whether or not Luka Doncic is going to play. Status for the All-Star game is still uncertain due to the left hamstring strain, still aiming to participate. All right, so we'll see if Luka plays. Either way, I think we overthought it. Should have just been a 4-quarter game, Team USA versus Team World. And let's see if we can kind of recreate the magic that we got last year from the NHL. Because that was all anybody could talk about. Oh, wow, look at what NHL did. Look at what the NHL did. They got rid of the All-Star game, which sucked. It was horrible. Much like the Pro Bowl has become horrible. Much like the MLB All-Star game. That's kind of the best one out of the 4. And even that, feels like that's kind of lost its luster. Maybe it's just that nothing's as good as it used to be. I don't know. Maybe there's a nostalgia is a hell of a drug for a lot of people my age and a little bit older as well. But I don't know. It doesn't always have to be that way. But all of a sudden last year we do the Frozen 4 to kind of, get ready for the Winter Olympics this year. 4 teams over the span of 8 days, round robin. And these guys, the players, they busted their asses. They gave it their all to the point where I forget if it was Brady or Matthew Tkachuk who picked up an injury that knocked him out into the freaking Stanley Cup Finals last year. Like, that's how serious these guys took it. That's why it was great. That's why it was successful. And so maybe it doesn't have to be a full game of Team USA versus Team World, but you know what? The NBA All-Star game has a chance to save itself this weekend, but as always, it's up to the players. That's who it's up to. It's not up to whatever format or whatever kind of rules we want to have or whatever the state of the league is around the game. It's up to the players, man. It's how much effort are they going to put in, right? If you get a Kobe Bryant type effort, if you get a Magic Johnson type effort, you get a Michael Jordan type effort from these players, then you're going to have a great game. And you're going to have a great product. You're going to have a fun, interesting game that's compelling, that's exciting, that's competitive, and that's entertaining. And that's all we want to see. All we want to see is some effort. There's no magic formula. There's no recreating the wheel. It's just about playing with effort. Treating the game like it matters. Treating like you have millions of people watching that are watching the All-Star weekend, not to see which guy can make a half-court shot, not to see which guy can hit eight threes in a row without missing, not to see a glorified dunk contest at times in the middle of a game with zero defense. No. No, and I understand you don't want to risk injury, but I don't know. I think there is something to be said. If you are making $50-60 million, you kind of owe it to the fans that are paying your salary, paying your paychecks, that when you get brought to the All-Star weekend, it shouldn't kill you to have to put in a little bit of effort. Shouldn't kill you. So if these guys show up and treat the game like it matters and play with fire, competitive intensity, this could actually work. This can put a boost. It could put a shot in the arm of All-Star Weekend again. And it can change the conversation of what has been around the NBA this week, which is the game sucks because of tanking and load management in the All-Star game, and nobody cares about it, and it all sucks. And look at Team World. Like, even with the guys that are may or may not playing, look at this roster. You got Wembanyama. You got Alperen Şengün, who's awesome, and still not enough people know about him. You got Jokic. We're going to see if Doncic plays. Denny Avdija from the Blazers. Still not nearly enough people know about him. And then here is just some of the players from Team USA. The one squad: Jaylen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Kevin Durant, LeBron, Kawhi, Donovan Mitchell. Curry's hurt. He's not playing. The other Team USA roster is more the younger guys: Anthony Edwards, Cade Cunningham, Devin Booker, Chet Holmgren, Tyrese Maxey. And so Kevin Durant, I think he actually, one of the best things he's ever said, and I hate a lot of the things Kevin Durant says, and I think he is very sensitive at times on Twitter, even though I got to admit his Twitter spats are entertaining. Here is what Kevin Durant had to say to drum up a little bit of extra interest, a little bit of extra fire, some trash talk, which I think is going to be great for this, or hopefully it's great for this weekend. But Kevin Durant throwing a couple of grenades right into the middle of this game and this conversation. Take a listen when he was asked if the old heads, which again is his team that features him and LeBron and Kawhi, and if Steph was healthy, Steph and Curry. Here is when Kevin Durant was asked if his Team USA plans on competing and playing hard. All right, let's see if we can.
The Europeans, the world team, if they gonna compete. Because if you look at Luka Doncic and Nikola Jokic now, let's go back and look at what they do in the All-Star game. Is that competition? So we haven't questioned what they've been doing, but we're going to question the old heads and the Americans. But these two dudes out there, Luka and Jokic, they don't care about the game at all. These dudes be laying on the floor, they shoot from half court, but you got to worry about the old heads playing hard. I can read between the lines, bro. And I'm just thinking a lot of times, I'm just saying that I can read between the lines. And it's not just about you, it's just an overall topic that everybody's been talking about. You just have to ask me that question.
So Kevin Durant basically saying, well, why don't you ask Team World if they're going to compete? Look at Luka. Look at Jokic. These guys be rolling on the floor, shooting half-court shots. They treat the game like it doesn't matter. Durant calling out not only the younger guys like Jokic and Luka, but he's calling out Team World. He's calling out the opposition. And hopefully Luka plays. And hopefully Nikola Jokic hears that and he takes it personal. Hopefully he gets fired up about it. Hopefully they want to show up and actually treat the game like it matters. Play with a little fire. Play with a little intensity. Play with some physicality. A little pushing and shoving. Hell, I don't care if it's fake. I don't care if it's manufactured. I don't give a damn. I want to see it. Even if I don't believe it, I want to see it. I want to see this become a battle of Team USA versus Team World. Like, this is it's been an American game for the longest time. And now in the last 10 years, like I said, I think the best 5 players in the world right now. Yeah, that's a shot from me to Anthony Edwards. That's a shot to Cade Cunningham. That's a shot to Jaylen Brown. If he was playing, it'd be a shot to Jason Tatum. It's a shot to any of these guys. We know LeBron ain't a top 5 player in the game anymore. We know Kawhi ain't a top 5 player in the game anymore. We know Steph Curry ain't a top 5 player in the game anymore. I want to see these guys, and I want to see Team World as well. I want them to make this a matter of, well, is the NBA now an international game? Because we're the best players in the world. We've taken over your sport. We've taken over your country. And I'm joking when I say that, but like, we've taken over your country's game. We're the best players. We're the best players. We're the reason why the league is thriving. It's because of people from our countries, people from Europe that are watching the sport like never before. You guys are killing the game. You guys are the ones that don't care. We're going to take your game and we're going to stick it to you. And I hope that Team USA fires back. I hope this becomes like, it'll be a good thing to have a little tension, to have a lot of tension in this game. Because I think it'll make the game interesting. I think it could save NBA All-Star Weekend. And I think it could give the NBA a little shot in the arm about the conversation around the sport, because right now it's all negative. All the haters have come out and they're having their day once again. They're slinging the arrows at the NBA. This is a chance for the NBA to prove that these guys all making $50, $60 million a year, that they do care and that they want to treat this weekend like it matters. I think that there's a lot at stake here. Dare I say, this could be a historic weekend. The NBA All-Star Game this weekend has a chance to save itself. But like I said, as always, it's up to the players.